The Strongest Lord event occurs every other week. It rotates between the Strongest Frenzy Lord and the Strongest Void Lord, which is what I'm showing here. It's broken up into five different phases, and in some realms it is now 6 phases where they've added a phase for Azerite collection and usage. So, hey guys, this is Heretic, and in this video we're going to go over the Strongest Lord event, go through each of the phases, and over some of the tips and tricks that I've learned along the way. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started.
This a threat to get heretic, boy, your time's up. Destroy and test them, learn your lesson for your mind bust. When you the best, you never fret, just watch them burn. Gotta learn how to move and how to step.
Alright, so the Strongest Lord event for most realms is broken into a gathering phase, which would last for 1 day, a monster killing phase, which could be 1 or 2 days, typically 2 days, power on, which is for boosting, you get points for building construction and for research. There is a troop training stage, which you get points for training troops. And then last but not least, you have the kill phase. All right, so let's go through each one of those. We just finished the gathering stage. So for the gathering stage, the tip I can get, and it is just gathering, right? So in this phase, for an individual person, to get the most out of it, you're going to have enough gatherers, enough cav especially, that you can gather for the full amount of time, for the full 24 hours, with all of your marches, 5 marches if you can, to get the most out of it. And the best thing that you can do is time it ahead of time so that the minute that the phase of the event begins, you can would be the point that your troops would return, like the second after. That way you have 5 loads of resources immediately as soon as the event begins. Then you send out additional throughout the time. And what you're going to want to do is use the gather speed boost throughout this phase of the event. So if you can get these in a lot of different places, you can get them as rewards all over the place. Believe me, I haven't bought any gather bonuses, and I have 181 hours and another 80 hours there. All right, so that's the gather phase. It's pretty easy to understand, but the big thing, the big trick is to have troops gathering ahead of time, to use your cav, all 5 marches, to get the quicker, the speedier gathering. You can use the elite mines, will give you a bonus, the speed, the amount of resources you can gather per second would go up in an elite. You just have to pay attention to it and make sure that you constantly have troops gathering throughout the full 24 hours. So that's the gather phase. Now we're in, for us, and one thing I didn't mention is each one of these phases can rotate. So you can start off phase 1 as the power on, the building research phase. And then phase 2 would be gathering, or like in our case this week, we had the gather phase first, then the attack monsters. So that means, and we just started this, so I have 2 days of attack monsters, and then after that I'm going to have a power on, and I'm going to have a troop training stage, and then the kill stage is always the last one. But the other ones that come before it can be random. So it makes it a lot harder on that gathering phase to have that ready, have your troops out, gathering right before the phase begins. But if you get lucky, you can hit it and get some really good points. For the attack monster phase, it's pretty easy. I'm going to show you. Of course, you're going to want to use all of your stamina potions. You can get them here on the merchant, and I buy them all the time here. You can also get them with the shells, and you can sell resources for shells, and then you can refresh here, and then every once in a while you'll get the potions show up here. Another thing that you can do is there's a really good buff. You can get it on rewards, but not very often. I don't get it very often. So the only other place to get it is here in the Monster Hunter daily special. And so you can get the 100%, and then there's an actual 200% for 1 hour. The speed, the monster movement speed. Also, for this, there are beast talents for stamina. There's also stamina artifacts. There's stamina pieces of gear. Doing all of that will increase the stamina that you have so that you can use your auto attacks is what I typically do. You don't have to, but it's going to be a lot of sending marches out the whole time. So I will typically just go in here, go to auto attack, fill in here. I can send out 3 pretty well and win those against 30s. And just let that go while I'm doing other things. So that's the attack, the monster attack phase. It's 2 days. So unless you're trying to win it, which, what happens in this event is people save up their potions. So they'll save it up for the whole week, and then they'll go crazy with the potions and try to get first place, which is fine because there are good rewards here. And the same thing would go with the building and research. They'll actually save all of their speed ups, during the week, and then use them during this event. Makes total sense. If you're going to be building up, 2-3 levels, castle levels, why not save it for this event? You'll get the 3 rewards here easily. And for, each phase has different rewards here for each one of these little stages in here. But you could also, rank up high enough during the phase that you get rewards there. So why not get rewards, for things that you would do anyway? Me personally, what I would do, say, in the monster phase, the monster hunting phase, I would do up to my 50 daily scroll fragment collections for each of the 2 days. This will still probably place me in the top 10 to 15, which is fine. I really don't care about winning the phase. What I do like, what is important to me, is to get the 3 chests anyway. And the reason I say that is because, the reason that I kill monsters is to get the scroll fragments so that I can then turn them into azurite over here by killing the monster that is summoned there. For every monster over level 26, you have a chance of getting one of those scrolls up to 50 in a 24-hour period. Well, and actually a day. So tomorrow at reset, it'll go back to 0, and I can do another 50. I only have 26 now. I have enough potions probably to get me the rest of the way, so that's what I'm going to do now while I'm doing this video. So then, like I said, the troop training. All right, so let's talk about that. For the troop training, same thing as I mentioned on the gather. Go ahead and time it out. I know that tomorrow, in 2 days actually, either the troop training or the building power on research is going to come up. So what I should do, the smart thing to do, would be to line up my troop training so that it ends just a minute after the phase begins. So then I get credit for all of these troops that would build immediately right when the phase begins. And then I could use my speed ups and kind of speed train T11s, right? So that would be the smart thing to do. For the buildings, same thing. You want to have buildings that actually give power. So the way you find out is if you go here to details, you go to more, and you can see here the battle power that you get, the battle power you get as you rank up the building. So it goes from 292 to 458. So you see the battle power difference there, and that's what you want. So you want to look for the buildings that give you the most amount of battle power for upgrading them. Of course, your castle would be one of them. The barracks all give good power. The Mystic College gives good power. I believe the Guardian Temple does as well. Yeah, it gives good power. The drill grounds also gives good power. The hospital gives good power. All of these, training grounds and your resource nodes do not give good power. Your college does. Most of the buildings in here inside the main part of your city are going to give good power. Look at them. If you have the choice between two, go for the one that's going to give you the most amount of power. That's going to give you the most amount of points so that you can do better in the event. And you want to do the same thing. So you want to have two buildings that are going to give you a lot of power end about 1 minute after the phase begins. This will get you pretty far into the rewards here, the point rewards. And, if you're doing enough, you might rank up pretty high and get some good rewards. One thing I didn't mention is, we have the battle, the battle frenzy, and we have the void versions of the Strongest Lord. At the very beginning, you have something very similar, but it's for a kill event within your realm, within the realm itself, and you have those for 4 or 5 times every 2 weeks, every other week. So, all right, so I went over all of those, and then it comes down to the last phase of the event. The last phase of the Strongest Lord event is where you're actually going to get the overall point. So a lot of people go in and they gather like crazy, they kill tons of monsters, and they place really high, in each one of these phases. And then when they get to the end, and I rarely do, other than I do the attack monsters because I do that anyway every day. But the gathering, I don't do a ton of gathering. What I've been doing lately, to be honest, is the weekend resource bundles that they have on Unlimited. I've been getting a few of those, the lower level ones, and it gives me a ton of resources and it saves me a lot of time. I haven't been running my farms like I used to. So that's how I've been getting my resources lately. So I do the attack monsters because I want Azurite, because Azurite is everything. So I do that anyway. And, I will time in some of my like troop and buildings, when I can, and I can show you some of my speed ups here. I don't have a ton right now, but I have a decent amount of my troop training. So when the recruitment, when that comes up, when that phase comes up, I should do okay, and I'll use these. I save them for that phase of the event, but I'm not going to get very many points, honestly, compared to. So what I normally do is I'll do very minimal amount of recruitment, building speed ups, the a monster attacking and all of that. And I'll, my overall before the kill event might be in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. But within 10, 15 minutes of the kill event, I'm already in the top 5 usually. And I think in the last void, I think that's what happened. Or in the frenzy, I guess, 2 weeks ago, I ended up in the top 5, 3 within 10 minutes of killing, because you get so many more points in that phase than you do in the other phases. So if you look here, what you want, like the really good rewards happen here in the overall. And so in the overall, you get this amazing God of War, for example, for the Void Lord. Only first place will get this God of War castle skin that gives really good buffs. And I think it lasts for 10 days also. You get 38k gems, a ton of birthstone chest. I mean, it is really good rewards here. You're going to spend probably to get there a lot more gems than that, but it kind of offsets that. And you have a lot of fun. It's PvP. This is why we play the game. But they don't call it war and farm. That would be a pretty, or farm and order would be a lot. It would be very boring. All right, and then even rank 2 has some really good rewards and so on. These are the rewards you want, and to get these rewards, you're gonna have to get a lot of points in the kill phase. So in the frenzy phase, you don't lose any troops, so you can just go out into the other realm, because in frenzy you're not going to get very many points on defense. So don't reinforce people. Go out and kill other castles for points. Even if you're going to, let's say someone has a ton of power, so they have a lot of troops, you can go out and as long as you're killing a healthy amount of troops on each attack, I mean, that's almost the best thing you can do. Who cares about winning each individual battle? In frenzy, you can just heal. Everything becomes wounded, and you can just heal it up in the special frenzy hospital, and you can get a ton of points. But in void, and also in frenzy, you can't get resources from the castles you attack, and no one can take resources from you for that 24 hours. But in the void event, it's the opposite. You can you get points for killing other people's troops, but you really kill, right? You really wound and heal. So if you attack another castle, it works just like it would in your normal realm play. You attack another castle, you kill their troops, it'll wound troops up to their hospital capacity, and then after that, it'll kill troops, send them to the sanctuary. When the sanctuary gets full, it will just completely 100% kill their troops. Same thing happens for you. When you're attacking, you're going to take losses. Those losses are real losses. So you're going to have to be smart. So the way that I think about it is, frenzy, when you attack, it's like SOS attacks. It's your best troops. In void, when you attack, it's like attacking people's farms. You're going to want to put some lower level troops in. So if you're infantry and let's say you're castle level 30, you're going to want to send your T10 infantry, and about 10% of the infantry, or maybe 5-7% of the infantry you send out, you want to be tier 2. So what'll happen is your tier 2 infantry will die off before any of your tier 10. And that way you end up saving your good troops, and you can easily recruit tier 2 later on to make up for it. Same thing on cav. Let's say your tier 11 cav frontline, you're going to want to send some tier 1, some tier 3, some tier 5s in there. And that's what I do. I'll send a range of each one of those tiers. So let's say I have tier 12 now. I'm going to send some tier 2, some tier 4, some tier 6, some tier 8 cav as well, and let those die off and save my tier 12s as much as I can. I'm going to send them out there because I want to win the battle, but I want to make sure that I have a little bit of a meat shield that'll take care of them. You only do that with frontline. Don't send low tier, backline troops. Same thing, your angels will die, so you have to be smart. If you're much more powerful than your opponent, you can probably get away with sending angels. You may lose a little bit. You can, if you have lower level angels, send those. But in general, you don't want to lose angels, so you want to do everything you can to protect your angels. So in Frenzy, what I do is I do a lot of solo attacking. In Void, I do a lot of team attacks, of timed attacks and speed attacks, and I do a lot of reinforcing. Ideally, so ideally you have a smart alliance that knows what they're doing. At the beginning of the kill phase in Void, no one goes to the other realm. And the reason that I say that is if one person in your alliance goes to the other realm, so if they went over here to this 1362, and they're over in 1362, no one in your alliance can leave and join a farm to reinforce. They can't join another alliance in your realm at all. They're stuck. So you're stuck in the alliance you're in until everyone is in the same realm. So you need, at the very beginning, you want everyone to stay home. You want to watch for the other realm, their players to come over and start to attack. And then you want to jump over to those other alliances, reinforce. You're going to get a ton of points. In Void, you get just as many points for defense as you do for offense. So it makes a lot of sense to reinforce. So that's part of it. And then the other thing I'll do, when that gets boring, and we have enough people on, we'll go to the other realm and we'll use speed attacks mostly, because it gives less time for the enemy to reinforce. And sometimes you do want them to reinforce when you're going to really wipe them out. But it's more of a team event. So the Strongest Void Lord is a very much a team oriented event, whereas the Frenzy Lord kill phase is very much a solo player's time. You can team up in Frenzy. I don't do it because I'm able to heal my troops until I get more points just from solo attacking. All right, so there we go. That is the Strongest Lord event. Please let me know if you have any tips or tricks that you do in your realm or that you've heard of. And if you have any questions, also put those in the comments as well. All right, so take care.